Greetings. Hello everyone, all of you beautiful souls and perfect people. Welcome to Tanesia's Locks Beauty Tips and Potpourri. It's so nice to have you here. If you're new, what took you so long? If you're returning, welcome home, kindred spirit. I want to say I'm grateful for all of you ride or die subscribers and sisters out there who support my channel, who show me love, who chime in the comments, who add your constructive feedback. And if there's something you want to share with everyone on the channel, please, I ask you to send me a 2 to 3 minute video. Just send it to me. You can contact me using the information in the description, and you may want to just share something about your journey that can help everybody else, because I can't think of everything. I can only talk about what's my part of the journey. But welcome to today's video. I'm going to share with you 10 pros and cons about the Sisterlocks journey. I'm going to give 5 things that have been wonderful for me and 5 things that have been a bit challenging for me on this journey. So this video can be for those of you who are veterans. This video could be for those of you who are considering locks and those of you who are new to locks now. Just fooling with my hair while I'm doing the video, because some of you kind of want to see that. You just don't want to see me up here talking. I maintain the front of my hair most of the time, and I let the lovely Efrage maintain my locks. I have them pulled up today. I just did some plaits yesterday, maybe 7 over my whole head, nothing big. But I've had my locks now for quite a while. Had them over 10 years. It's either 11 or 12. I got to go back and get specific on the count. So I've learned a lot in this journey, and I've taken this on, and I want you all to look forward to an ebook that I'm working on that relates to this journey and the microlock journey, as well as traditional locks, which Sophia is going to share. So keep an eye out for that, because I think if there was a compilation of something that I could have read when I started the journey, it would have been helpful. Shout out to the sister, I can't think of your name right now, who suggested this in the comments, and it was something that I had been thinking about. So I want to do it because we need this. We sure are going to get a book from the Sisterlocks folks, the lovely brand. So I think that's something that I'm going to be working on, and hopefully in the next few months, maybe by fall, or early winter, I'll have something that is tangible for those of you who are new to the journey, and for those of you who've been at this for some time. Information that reflects my experience. It's important to know and understand that everybody's experience is different. Everybody's hair is different. Everybody has their own fingerprint. So some things that work for some people aren't the best thing for everybody else. We have different hair densities. We have different hair types. We have different access to services. We have different levels of experience with working with our own hair, and so many other things. So just to get into the topic, I want to first talk about the 5 things that I love about this journey. And although I am preparing for things that put us at risk with this hairstyle, like hair loss and things, that's kind of something that's big right now because of a lot of the stuff I've learned since I've been on the journey, a lot of the feedback that you guys have given me, and the fact that I'm going further and further in my journey. And the longer that you're in the journey, the longer that the locks get, the more you have to be on top of stuff. You know what I'm saying? To keep your hair healthy and to keep the style, to give it longevity. But I love my Sisterlocks. I love them. I love them like I love, not as much as my kids, but almost as much. This has been the best decision that I ever made, bar none. And I'm so serious about that. I would do it over again. If someone told me I was going to lose my locks, God forbid, 3 years from now, I would still do this whole journey all over again. For over a decade, I have had, number one, a carefree hairstyle. That is one of the major pros of having Sisterlocks. Carefree on a day-to-day basis. Not as it relates to the reties and the maintenance. But every day I wake up, like I got up, I didn't have to plait my hair. I could have just got up, ran my hands through it, and went on about my business. But I had maybe 7 dookie plaits in my hair. I just took them out, pull it up to the top, put a little, because y'all know I don't believe in pulling stuff tight. Got me a little fat barrette here. Thumbnail. Gotta do that, y'all. We don't have a choice. That's at the 5-minute mark. Or y'all won't click on the videos. Some people won't. But it's a carefree hairstyle. That is what I love more than anything. Y'all have heard me, those of you who've been with the channel, heard me talk about the tyranny and the enslavement of hair. As women, we have spent a lot on our hair, especially as women of the African diaspora. Y'all already know that story, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. This is carefree. I love it, okay? It's wake up, do nothing, always be beautiful. Okay, no issues there. Number 2, you get to experience the abundance of having a head full of hair, but also knowing that it's all yours. All right, because of the lack of styling, stress, and everything, it's conducive to healthier hair growth, which takes me to number 3 as a pro. Styles that don't stress the hair as much. Now, this has its cons, because we're talking about these reties, the frequency of them, the hair trauma, the alopecia, and all of that. I'm not gonna get into that right now, but from a very general standpoint, you're not dealing with the styling stress. A lot of times, even with protective styles, you have hair loss. Even if you're wearing a wig or you're doing the hair weaves, you sometimes are going to be dealing with problems with the hair and issues that the hair suffers from because it's being covered, it's not getting oxygen, it's being pulled tight with the braids, the cornrows, and all of that. So with this style, you don't have to worry about the heat. You don't have to worry about the relaxers. Any chemicals that you put on your hair are at your own choice and, are at your own discretion. So your hair typically is going to be healthier and fuller, typically. All right. Number 4 about this journey is you get to meet, somehow there is a kinship, a kindredness when you see other people with Sisterlocks. It becomes a point of conversation. You feel an innate closeness with other people that have Sisterlocks. I believe that there's a spiritual connection that happens between us as melanated women when we see other women who have stepped into reclaiming their naturalness, embracing the diversity and the range of beauty that we have when we step into our the kink in our hair. All right, so that is beautiful. If you ever out and about, you see somebody with Sisterlocks, I always like, hey, I love your locks, they look beautiful. Or someone says that to me and we immediately come into an energetic space where we bond. And not to mention the channel. Which brings me to my 5th point, but I'm going to throw in a bonus, which is this journey for me has put me in contact with so many beautiful sisters. It just has. And that started long before I started marketing and sharing with you my patented, as far as I'm concerned, my personal recipes for hair growth and hair health. The I Am Melanin Magic brand, which is just something that's been ongoing for almost maybe just a little over a year. And I've had this channel almost maybe 3.5, 4 years. Prior to that, you guys, I can't explain it. I feel like I have friends in high places. I feel like I have friends all over the world. I know I have friends all over the world. I talk to women in Belgium, in Kuwait, in Nigeria, and I ship stuff out to the UK. I have connected with so many beautiful women, the ones right here. Many of you all who have come to me locally, my shop, my business, Hair Reiki, which I do healing work in Atlanta. And I'm not at that office much anymore, although it's still there. My daughter is operating out of there. Both of them are. Ronnie's doing tattoos, piercings, and other body art, teeth jewelry, which, by the way, when I get these braces off, I'm going to get me a little teeth jewelry. And I'm thinking about having Ronnie put a little piercing here. For those of you who know Ronnie, my daughter Sophia, and y'all love her and y'all like to see how I do her videos, what do y'all think about me getting a little piercing right here? Is that like the Marilyn Monroe thing? Should I get it diagonally from the nose piercing, or should I put it on the same side? If you made it to this part of the video, chime in the comments, because I want to see what y'all think. I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to bite the bullet. She says it's a very painful one. I think I'm going to bite the bullet. Plus, I need to see if she's any good. But I've been able to meet some wonderful, wonderful, wonderful women. And I think these were a part of the reason why Sophia decided to get her traditional locks, or to go natural, in addition to some other reasons. But I've met wonderful women, and you too will be able to network and meet a lot of wonderful women. So those are 5 pros. Let's talk about some of the cons, some of the challenges that you will run into perhaps, or some things that you might want to consider. First and foremost is I feel a lack of support. A lot of you complain about with the Sisterlocks brand, not having updated information, not having a mouthpiece that speaks out on a regular basis, that gives updated information. Many of you have taken a class, say the materials are outdated, pictures and photographs and things like that. The information is just not there. I feel like with this is like a huge brand in our community, and I feel like a lot more could come of it if they would invite more discourse, if they would entertain more issues that people experience with the brand, and if they would just be more, I guess you could say, focal. They would be more out there, communicating, talking about the brand, giving suggestions. It feels like there's this air of secrecy over it, and I don't think that helps the brand. I don't think it helps the brand at all. In fact, it contributes to people giving false information about the brand because they don't have enough information. Everything just seems to be a secret, down to somebody, the type of rotation, or the point, the type of rotation that you have, or the pattern that you have, or the various decisions that are made with regard to why a loctician chooses to do certain things to your hair. All of those things, there's like this shroud of mystery around it. That's a con. That's a major con, because this is like Coca-Cola and Pepsi of sodas right now. And I think that's why you're having an emergence of people who are developing their own grid systems and their own Microlock proprietary and patented systems. And I think that's a good thing, because when you have competition, you tend, when you're in a competitive marketplace and you don't have a minority, you tend to respond differently to your fans, to your client base, and we just want to be acknowledged. I think that's important. Number 2, a con for a lot of people can be finances. And although that was not a con for me, and still is not in terms of the maintenance, I didn't pay what I'm hearing a lot of people are being asked to pay today, y'all. It's insane. There was a sister in, I forget where she's located, but she just wanted to get a retightening of her Microlocks. Let's face it, what's the main difference with this except the grid? Come on, a Microlock is a lock depending upon how you started it. If it's been started with interlocking, it's going to look a lot like ours. Just to get a retightening, y'all, she was quoted at $3,000 because she technically didn't have Sisterlocks, but y'all know she had the same number of locks. They were small. It was basically the same thing. She had let them grow out. She was quoted at $3,000 to have her locks retightened. That's insane. Many of you now are telling me it's costing easily upwards of $2,800, $2,900 for you being quoted for just not the retightening, but the install. And it's going higher than that with the quickness. Now, there's some aspects of that I can understand when you talk about an hourly rate, people standing on their feet. So I try to moderate my view on that, because I'm an entrepreneur and there's a lot that's involved to bring something to market. But we're not talking about a product. We're all talking about a service, and we're talking about the trend in what people typically pay for this sort of thing, typically pay for Microlocks or pay to have their hair done. And I think when you have a long service that takes place over a few days, to try to charge maybe that same amount per hour that you would get maybe or charge during a retightening or two, that it can be problematic. I think that's my mail lady, excuse me. That's Sophia acting, not Sophia. Sorry about that. But so that's debatable, because as well, I can see someone charging $40 to $100 an hour to stand on their feet. I really can for an install. That's a lot of money though. That's not realistic. And let's face it, are you charging that? Like I can see you charging, I can see someone trying to reason through why they might charge that, but it's exorbitant and it's unaffordable for most people. That's not gonna work. And it's about supply and demand. So if we stop paying those crazy rates, then it will have to, the marketplace will have to adjust. And that's the bottom line. You need to decide what you're not gonna pay. Although I will say that if this is something that you're really committed to and you're in an area where you just don't have the benefit of competition in the marketplace and someone is trying to charge you $2,500, now I paid $750. That was a decade ago. That's almost $1,000. For me, if someone asked me for that right now, and I knew that I was going to be in this space some years from now, I probably would go ahead and do it. Because you're talking about inflation. I paid $750 then, which I think was considered. I was willing to pay it. I think it was worth more than that. I also would consider not only all the benefits and everything, but I look at things in terms of wholes. I can look at my budget and what I spend during the month and look at what I waste and what I may throw away on some nonsense, some stuff that I don't need. Okay, let's say, for example, these ferns and these flowers back here and the pots that they are in. You're looking at, shoot, this big pot here, that ceramic or porcelain, and that one over there. You're talking about, plus these plants which are going up, inflation, everything is crazy right now. Out here, you're looking at $100 behind me, maybe a little bit over $100, which can sound ridiculous. But if I pay $100 for that, all I'm doing is multiplying that by an additional 1,000. By an additional 10 to get to this value. So what matters is how important something is to you. But that can be a major con if you don't look at it in terms of, well, I'm sitting up here paying, for cable $200-300 a month and I'm not getting anything out of that. So you have to weigh that. But the cons can be pricing, because pricing is going up. And it's not looking like that's going to decrease anytime soon as long as we keep paying for it. So it's time to maybe stop paying for that and to ask the person who's willing to do your Sisterlocks, how much will they charge for Microlocks? Because if we're just talking about the difference in a grid, let them know how you want them to part it, if it's going to mean less money for you. Because you're paying for the name, but the name is, based on what I was saying, is the first kind. The name doesn't mean anything that much anymore. Other than the fact that I know you got those little braids. Sisterlocks as a brand, I think, is letting down and disappointing a lot of the people who are on the front lines and support the brand, which are people like us, simply because it's almost like defunct. You don't even know if they exist or who's the person, the spokesperson. We know it's Miss Cornwell, but do we see videos about her? Does she have a channel? Do we see updated information in those magazines? Like, y'all, come on, y'all know what I'm talking about. So that's a major con, the price. That's the second major con. The third thing that is a major con, just by having a style, is dealing with lint. For me, dealing with lint. Because I didn't do some of the things that I needed to do early in my journey, and also the types of oils I was using early in my journey were not conducive, and I wasn't educated enough to know that it was going to attract a lot more lint. You're going to have lint anyway. What is going on, y'all? I'm sorry. Yes, my Albie, she is ride or die. Sorry about that. And I'm going to cut this short. I'm going to move through it. But, where was I? Doggone it. Lost my train of thought. Let me pause this. Okay, lint. I had to go walk around for 2 minutes. So lint. So your hair is attracting. Lint is picking up stuff. Life is moving on. You're a creative being. If we shed 300 hairs a day, we shed all these skin cells. Like, you're going to be picking up stuff in your locks. So that's something you need to be really vigilant about. Shaking them out, making sure before you wash your hair, you look for any lint that just kind of has gotten on your hair, so that when it gets wet, it doesn't stick to the hair and then become embedded. Even when I'm pulling out lint or I'm using my little push pin and cleaning my locks, the hair that drops can drop on here and latch back in. So taking the necessary precautions, making sure that if you're using products on your hair, you're washing them out thoroughly when you wash your hair, and that you're washing your hair 2-3 times, and that At regular intervals, you do clarifying shampoos. That's really going to help you with this. Lint is unavoidable. Even if you don't think you have lint, I challenge you to take a lock and start picking it out. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. I don't know if y'all remember my girlfriend Serena, who's the motivation for why I got these locks. One day she was watching my video and she started paying attention to what I said, and she started seeing lint all through her locks, y'all. She ended up cutting them off. You couldn't see it just looking at her coming down the street, and you couldn't see her until you started paying attention. And you might see it here and there, but when you started to focus in on it, you will see it. And she ended up cutting her locks very short and then eventually just cutting them off. And her locks were long, not quite as long as mine. She's had them longer than mine, but they were long. And she's now gone to Microlocks with the lovely effrage, and they look beautiful. As soon as they start to grow, I'll let you know. So that's the third thing. The fourth thing is the retightenings. The schedule of getting the retightenings can be a hassle. You need to be getting them. Some people, the range from what I'm getting from y'all is from about 4 to 11 weeks. I think that 11 weeks probably has been me. 10, 11 weeks, every now and then 12 weeks. That's kind of been me, because I don't believe in over retightening. I believe it's traumatic. I believe your average loctician is not as sensitive to the tenderness that is required in order to not to traumatize the hair. And I quickly believe it contributes to hair loss. That's another topic. Check out the other videos on my channel. I'm trying to stick within 25 minutes, y'all. I'll be doing good. The fifth thing that is really a con is that this is a style that can potentially lead to hair loss, not because it's Sisterlocks, but because they're Microlocks, they're fine. You have to get the constant retightenings over time, and even not over time. For some of you guys have talked about, you've been at this thing for less than a year or two and locks have popped out. It has to do with a lot of different things, but stress on the scalp, too tight of retightenings, too frequent of retightenings, hair that has already been weakened, that is not being supplemented, that is not being strengthened on a regular basis because you're being told, many people, not to put anything in your hair. You don't need any oil. Well, that may work if you're in utopia, but in this society where you're dealing with the elements like the sun, the heat, the pollution, the elements, the chemicals that are in the shampoos, if you're drying your hair and you're using hair dryers, if you're pulling on your hair, you're using styling, you've got to be able to back up this hairstyle with some added supplementation and nutrition. That's just, it is what it is. Otherwise, long term, you are going to have potential problems. So when I talk about that, the hair loss can be a problem if you are not doing everything that you can do to try to mitigate that and to try to anticipate that could be coming, and that there's some things that you may need to do to shore your hair up. I'm going to stop there to keep the video short. Again, if you're interested in the I Am Melanin Magic brand, the magical hair growth serum for places where you've lost hair, please do not put this on the lock. Only use it in the scalp. Massage it in gently. I say to start out 2 to 3 times a week. You can increase that as needed. This has worked for over 70% of the people who use it and have experienced a great degree of hair loss, even for some of those people that have lost hair for more than 3 or 4 years and were getting injections, okay? This is the maintenance oil. This is a very light oil. It's very healthy for your hair. These are synergistic blends, which work very, very well. This one can go on the actual locks if you choose. It can go in the scalp area, but this is what is responsible for the length of my hair and the fact that even after multiple dyes, rinses, lint picking, breaking my ends off, my hair continues to grow and has been strong to withstand a lot of the things that I've done in the journey. I'll talk about that on a lot of my other videos. You can find out more information about that, the anti-aging serum, the acne serum that is working for so many of you and helping you with your skin or helping your children with their skin. And just know I'm working on 2 other formulas that are in research and development for the last few months and will be for the forthcoming months. One is for gray, repigmenting gray hair, spot treating areas, not for people that have tons of gray, but I'm the test subject. All right. That, and also another formula to aid with hair loss issues, okay? Again, if you have serious hair loss issues when you're dealing with hormonal stuff or female or male pattern baldness, there's a combination approach that maybe you need to take. This can assist with that, but this is not a panacea. But this is something to keep in your tool bag that can be very helpful for you for getting your hair starting to grow again and re-energizing those follicles. But you need to watch out for diet. You need to watch out for making sure you're getting enough water, for stress, for hormonal changes, as well as extreme weight loss. You need to be paying attention to genetic things that are taking place, which still can be down leveled with the interventions that you put in place. Just because your mother lost her hair doesn't mean you have to lose your hair. Although if your mother did lose her hair, you need to be particularly careful, okay? If I start having problems with hair loss, I know it's got nothing to do with genetics, because my mother had a hair full of hair, and so did both my grandparents. It's going to be this style, and make no bones about that. But these are things that we have to be very mindful of. I'll talk more about that in other videos. I love y'all. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Please be bright, be peaceful, be productive, be prosperous. And if you like this energy, go over to my Butterfly Transformation Spiritual channel and check us out over there. Shout out to Felita, shout out to Keisha, shout out to all of you, Miss T, all of you wonderful ladies who migrated from this channel over to that channel and vibe with me over there. Y'all are ride or die. I love all of y'all. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day, afternoon, morning.